From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show, including Kingdom of Nye Radio and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. Do a little shopping at the SOR Vault. Sign up for the SOR Space Travelers Club for $5 a month. Grab a new book on We Read the Night and stay up to date on the SOR Newswire's Captain Shirt has us updated. Tonight's show is brought to you by CHIVE Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by donating to CHIVE Charities today. You can find them on our website. Barbara DeLong has been working professionally in the spiritual field since the early 70s. In addition to being a full-time special education teacher and a single parent, in the 80s she began painting personal mandalas for friends. Since that time, her paintings and the life readings that go with them are now nationwide, worldwide as well, with over 400 of them in private collections. These individual paintings evolved in a circular oracle card deck called the Cosmic Deck of Initiation. But she is so much more than just her art. She is someone who has absolutely studied everything. Everything to do with the weird, the strange, the obtuse, the unbelievable. And tonight, we're going to go down one of those paths with her research. We're getting into giants. Are there giants roaming this earth? Are they still here? Were they here? Where are the skeletons? BarbaraDeLong.com is the website. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Barbara DeLong, thank goodness we finally got you here, because we tried to have you on last month, but you lost your voice. And so we had to bring you.
Totally.
So we had to bring you back because I needed to talk giants. I really did. And this is a topic that, believe it or not, a lot of people want to talk about and hear about these days. So before we get too heavy into it, let's learn a little bit about you. You've been doing this for well over 40 years now. Why did you get into this field?
Well, actually, the trigger to sending me into this field was the fact that a UFO landed on my campus when I was in college.
No, tell us about that.
It was in the spring of my senior year, March, I think. I went to school at Eastern Michigan University in Michigan, and it was in '66. And those were the days when they locked the women in the dorms at 11 o'clock because, of course, you don't get into trouble until after 11 o'clock. So they kept the safe locked up by 11. And it was between 11 and 12. We just heard the 11 o'clock news, and suddenly there was a commotion going on, and there was a news flash that said that, and this was the time when J. Allen Hynek was going all over the place talking about swamp gas, and we heard police cars with their sirens screeching suddenly going by the dorm, and between my dorm and the baseball field, there was one large building, and we could hear over their radios. They're saying it landed on the baseball field. We're going to turn on the stadium lights to see, to get a better, to see what's there. And we saw the glow in the sky as the stadium lights went on, and this saucer rose up, and it swooped over my dorm. And I tell people, it's hackneyed now, but if you haven't heard it, it's not. If it had had a VIN number, I would have seen it. Blanked out the sky. Sort of, it happened really, really fast, but it was there, and then it was gone. And there was, I think, what was so amazing was there was no air displacement, there was no sonic boom, there was no whoosh of air or anything like that. And then, of course, we had the radios on because nobody had TV in their room, of course. And we heard them say that the traffic to the 3 airports in the area had been shut down because there had been an unidentified flying object, sighted over Eastern Michigan University. Actually, in a lot of the write-ups now, they say it had happened at Michigan, but I am here to tell you it happened at Eastern Michigan, only 7 miles away. And so we waited breathlessly for, of course, the news at midnight. But in the meantime, there were streams of police cars, and for the entire rest of the evening, there were military people with German Shepherds that patrolled the entire campus. Next morning, well, that evening, the news came on at midnight, and of course we were all sitting there breathlessly, and there was no mention of it at all. And what was really fascinating about the entire thing is that there was a whole bunch of us hanging out the window. Everyone reacted very differently. Some people were hiding in closets crying hysterically. Some people were didn't see a thing. And then there were a few of us that actually saw something, and it was like, wow, that was about the coolest thing ever. And in some way, shape, or form, it's almost as though it broke through something in my consciousness, and I was suddenly on a trip to not only to understand unidentified flying objects, but to look into everything that was of a paranormal spirit or spiritual modality. And it was quite amazing. It just opened me up in a way that I never imagined one could be. At that point in time, it was like, get engaged, get married, have children, and be a housewife. And from that moment on, it was not that. It was learn and discover there's something more out there. There's something more to grasp. There's a greater wisdom, a greater consciousness. There's so much more out there. Don't be content to just become something greater. And I'm still on that trail. I'm still looking for things to expand on. And certainly over the years, my opinions and my philosophies as to what UFOs are have changed tremendously. And my belief system as far as what's going on in the universe and what's going on here at Earth has also evolved tremendously, and it continues to. So, if I spout my philosophy, just, it's true for the moment, but tomorrow it may change.
How did that change your life and your perspective of everything? Because here you are in college trying to get a further in your education, maybe a career, and then figure out the whole family lifestyle as was the norm back then. Did it affect you to the point that you thought 40 years later this would still be relevant in your life, or did you think this was going to be a fleeting moment?
Oh, no, I knew it was going to be more than that, and it was more than 40 years. It's going on 60 years now.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. It suddenly made everything seem very mundane. And while, I finished college and I taught special ed for 25 years, and I have 2 master's degrees, and I'm an ordained minister, and there's so much that there's always something more to discover. There's always something more to stretch into, and in a way, I first of all, my life is very exciting because I'm constantly rubbing shoulders and talking to people that are just so amazing. It's unbelievable. But in a way, it did make marriage and relationships like everybody. I no longer wanted the same things all of my friends did. I had 2 marriages, both ended in divorce. In my 3rd marriage, he died before I could divorce him. So, but I wouldn't have. Patrick Cook was an amazing man in and of himself. But it changed my perspective so that I wasn't satisfied with just being like everybody. I didn't want to be like everybody else. And while my training was as a teacher, and I did teach for 25 years, I taught special ed, and I loved teaching special ed, but it isn't where I felt my life should be. I am a teacher genetically, I think, so that with the radio shows that I do, and I read the books of everybody that comes on my show before I interview them, so that I can help them present their material in a way that it will help other people to get interested or enticed by or want to read the books. So that becoming a teacher in a different genre for right now is an absolutely exciting thing for me.
That is absolutely fantastic. Barbara DeLong is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Barbara, you have been able to take this into so many different genres, whether it's the intuition, whether it's UFOs, ET contact, sacred stones, giants, spiritual development. You kind of go into everything down this path. How did you get to so many different pathways? Because for some, when they have an experience, that's all they focus on. They don't look at the other avenues that may come along with it.
Well, that's the exciting thing about it. Everything is interconnected, whether it was painting mandalas and going into people's soul energy, or doing spirit circles and communicating with people that had passed over, or leading a meditation group online for remote viewing into sacred sites. They're all interconnected. They all have a connection, and to only go one way gives you tunnel vision. So every time I turn around, there's always something new calling to me and saying, "Hey, have you ever thought of this?" And there are a few things that I've checked into that didn't draw my interest or keep me fascinated, but there are many things that it's almost like I have to educate myself here so I can weave it into everything else I do and say to help other people maybe get intrigued by it so they investigate it.
Did these come off of personal experiences?
Well, I was in a spiritual development group, and we had homework every week, and one week he assigned us to make a mandala for somebody in the class, and mandalas are a pictorial, geometric representation of an energy, and I just used it to interpret a person's soul energy. Now, I have no art training. If your definition of an artist is someone that gets paid for their paintings, then I'm very successful. If it's that they can graphically represent a tree, a face, a cat, a dog, then I'm not. But I painted the personal mandalas until I looked at them and I thought these would make a great deck of cards for an oracle deck, for a personal development deck. And once I did the personal development deck, I stopped painting personal mandalas because that's what took me to the cosmic deck. And once the cosmic deck was done, then I had to move on to something else. And I think the exciting thing is that so many people feel trapped. And the minute I feel like I'm claustrophobic, I look around and see where next to go. Instead of, moaning and groaning and grumbling to my friends, it's sort of like there has to be something else here. And there always is. There are so many directions to go. And I truly believe that if you are doing something that gives you great joy, then it gives you a longer lifetime to enjoy it in.
Well, that's absolutely fantastic. And I'm glad you have a positive personality about it, because for so many people out there, Barbara, when they have their own experiences, whether it's their intuition opening up, they have a close encounter of the third kind with a UFO or meet up with aliens or Bigfoot or something along those lines, it is very traumatic to them, whether it's in a positive or a negative way, yet you seem very level-headed in regards to everything you've experienced.
Well, I guess I am. I whack out every now and then, too. I think that for a long time I did psychic fairs and things like that, and one day I was sitting there at the fair saying, well, okay, so I'm a psychic and I'm a medium, and that's fun, but if it can't be the end game, it has to be a step towards something else. And that was the last time I did a psychic fair. It was like, and there were other people there that had been doing it forever, and it's kind of like if becoming psychic is your goal and you get there and you're happy with it, that's fine. I wasn't happy with it. It seemed like I had to take that and put it towards something else. I had to keep moving forward. And sometimes, there are times when something isn't opening up, and at those times when there seems to be a lull, that's when I sit back and take a look at things, and when I finally get bored enough, something comes along and I'm suddenly off and running again. So when I'm in those lull times, I enjoy them greatly because I know I'm about to be overwhelmed by something else, so I had best get my rest while I can.
Well, it's one of those things where I do believe that everybody has a mission in regards to this. There's a reason why you saw that UFO in college. There's a reason why it made you take the life path that you chose. Do you regret having your life change so drastically because of the experiences you've had?
Oh, absolutely not. I am constantly in awe of the magical things that happen once you go with the flow. And sometimes it's hard to figure out where the flow is. Sometimes it's just a whirlpool and it's going nowhere. But it's a matter of being comfortable with allowing the universe to open the door for you instead of trying to hit your head against the wrong door. And I frustrate a lot of people because, basically it's like somebody said a while back, what do your followers think of, what you've done with your life so far? And I looked at them and I said, I would be horrified if anybody was following me because I don't know where the heck I'm going.
Well, so but I guess though, if you don't know where the heck you're going, that's part of the excitement, is it not? Because it's a new adventure every day.
Absolutely. And it's, those coincidences that happen to all of us, if you pay attention to them, in many ways a coincidence is how your spirit is trying to get a message through to your consciousness. And if you pay attention to those coincidences instead of just saying, oh my, wasn't that cool, that was a great coincidence, it's sort of like, what is it signifying, what's the message, what does it mean to my life and today, and what's happening within my day. And it does, it makes everything so exciting. And I tell everybody, pay it forward, do kind things for people, put smiles on people's faces any chance you get, because it comes back at you. And life is an adventure. It's not meant to be a struggle. It's an adventure, and it's a good one. And we get hurdles, and we get tests, and we get challenges, but in one way, we sort of asked for them before we came in, and in another way, you're never given something that you're not capable of getting through or over. And it's sort of like when all heck breaks loose here, it's kind of, I will step back and say, I wonder what I'm supposed to learn here. I hope I learn it fast because I really would like to get out of this mess. And you approach it that way. Okay, it's a challenge. How can I make this better? What can I learn from it? What's the point of all of this? There's got to be a point to it because nothing is pointless.
Well, that's a tough part, though. That's a tough part, though, and I even struggle with that myself, where, I follow the direction of whether you want to call it my guides, my intuition, whatever. And there's a lot of people who go with that. And sometimes no matter where you turn, there's roadblock after roadblock. You turn into a different direction, there's another roadblock. And eventually you get tired of those roadblocks. How do you find the path that you need to go down if everywhere you turn, you're running into these roadblocks that seem to just really, really hit your anxiety or your depression or your mood very, very strongly?
Well, I think in those kind of cases, I usually step back and realize I'm trying to intellectually analyze a spiritual journey. And the two don't go together because your mind has only this lifetime for a frame of reference. And so it's trying to make what it thinks, your ego, what it thinks are logical, safe decisions and choices. Your spirit, on the other hand, is trying to get you to understand that there is a journey here, and for the most part, you may be hitting your head against a brick wall because you're going in the wrong direction. And so, in those times, you Yeah, and frankly, there have been times where I have been positive that my spirit is wrong, and I'm totally right in the direction I want to go in, and yet when I let go of it and say, okay, so what door is opening? Where am I going? How do I get there? And then I sort of pull back and I wait for the door to open, and sometimes it takes a while, but if you listen to the spirit and ignore the mind, you get a lot farther, a lot faster. It's hard to do, but once you do that, everything flows for you. You can't think your way through a journey that a spirit is on. But you can trust to the higher consciousness, trust to your spirit, trust that things will flow for you and open for you if you don't try to it's sort of like you can't steer the boat. You have to enjoy the ride.
True. I can see that as we got about just over a minute and a half left before we got to go to break at the top of the hour, or at the bottom of the hour, pardon me. You sound like after all this time, 6 decades worth of experiences, that you're still enjoying this. You still have the energy to try and find the answers to this mystery.
Oh, yeah, and more questions too, and that's the fascinating thing. The more I learn, the more I realize I don't know much at all, and so there's so much more to dig into, and so much more excitement to find, and usually when I dig stuff up, I find that my philosophies are totally ungrounded, and I have to start reconstructing my philosophies again, because now my new philosophy doesn't support a lot of the old gibberish I was giving out a while back.
So how do you translate your own gibberish?
Well, the gibberish works for a while. It's very supportive of me. And then for instance, religion. For a long time, I would say I'm very spiritually oriented, but religiously not so much. And the more I learn and the more I stretch myself into the spiritual aspects, the cosmic aspects of what's going on, I let go of a religion that is got dogma and rules, and understand that the spiritual is so much more freeing and in many ways so much more rewarding, in that it gives me a greater understanding of my purpose and the direction. Doesn't give me the direction, but it lets me know there is one, which is a
Barbara,
cool thing.
Barbara, I'm going to get you to hold on right there as we are going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Barbara DeLong is our guest tonight, no relation to the TTSA guy, as we are going to be talking giants coming on up. Just to warm up in the first half hour, we're going to turn up the woo, turn up the stories, turn up the information to find the big, tall beasts that used to walk this planet. Are they still here? Are they Bigfoot and Yeti? Or are they playing in the NBA? Basketball over in Asia? I don't know. We'll find out right after this.
Hey, space travelers. This is John Resig, founder of the CHIVE and CHIVE Charities. If you know anything about our website, you'd know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, CHIVE Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know little brother is watching.
Finish off your weekend and kick off your new week with me, Everett Thiemer, right here on Spaced Out Sundays. I'm going to bring you great guests, a little bit of snark, and plenty of information to think about. But don't worry, there's going to be plenty of woo as well. We are going to hit everything in the paranormal and supernatural, including the odd Psychic Sundays. So tune us in on Sunday, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio, you can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckard, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you will be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night. This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a Space Traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
Looking for something new to push your limits? Look Beyond the Spectrum, a new docuseries featuring some of the best researchers in the world when it comes to everything from UFOs, government cover-ups, and Bigfoot in the forest. Truth seekers like Steve Bassett, Dr. Jeff Meldrum, Richard Dolan, as well as others all chip in to bring their knowledge to you. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon as well as Tubi TV. Tell us what you think on our Amazon page.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now. The Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters, welcoming all of you here. Hi, Gene in D.C. for listening in. Gene, do us a favor. Give us a call sometime, will you? Would appreciate that. Hi, everyone listening in the SOR Space Travelers Club on our website, spacedoutradio.com. Good to have you there with us. Reminder, all of our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. You can rock out to Bumblefoot. You can read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Do a little shopping at the SOR Vault, because you need one of our T-shirts. And if you're looking for some great books, head on over to We Read the Night. Barbara DeLong is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Her website, barbaradelong.com. That's DeLong without the E, so she's not related to TTSA guy. Not that that's anything wrong with that. But, you know, she seems a lot more truthful. She really does. And in this half hour, we're going to look at giants. And Barbara, probably one of the subjects that I get asked about over the years was, Dave, when are you going to do a show on giants? And here you are.
And here I am. Yeah, well, they've been out there for a long time. I mean, there are many tribes of giants in the Bible. There have been bones of giants discovered all over the world. And of course, you know, in the 1800s, early 1700s, that's when you started to see them being dug up in this country, and people, you know, the newspaper articles on them are just, you know, you can't count. There's so many. And I think the earliest real written account that I found was from early 1500s. And that's the Britton Viner Cave in, I don't know where it is. It's in Bavaria, or it's over there someplace. And if you really want to be amazed, you should take a look at it, because the report of it is written in and it's on file in the town hall in Britton Viner. Britton Viner. It's in Europe. Why is it not coming here? It is absolutely one of the most amazing reports I have ever read, and it talks of the men in this particular town actually went into the cave, and I'm scrolling and looking for the Britton Viner account, because it is such a cool account. Of course, I can't find it. It's here someplace. Anyhow, this town, it's 1532, I believe, and they went into this cave, these townspeople, and they went through many, many chambers, and they went deep into the cave, and they discovered giant bones. And there were bones all over the place, and there were mummies, and there were all sorts of phenomenal features in the cave. And when they finally got frightened and they came out, the whole thing is written up, and it's in the Britton Viner town hall. And in the 70s, 80s, there's a military base that is right close to there, and it was put there at the end of World War II, became a NATO base, and the men at the base heard about this cave, and they thought, some of the Americans thought, if they could get into the cave, if there were bones there, because there had been a concentration camp there, and, if they could find the bones, they could get DNA, and that, put some people's minds to rest. So they went into the cave. They broke into the cave, actually. And as they were walking down a passageway, they noticed that on the right and the left were walls. And if you went up and over the walls, it was all full of bones. It was, 6-8 feet deep of bones. And they went deeper into the cave, and they found, of course, more bones. And there's a videotape of this that's on the website as well. And they brought out bones that were tested, and there are pictures of the bones on the website. And it was the bone that they brought back was said to be of a very exceedingly tall man. Now, what is fascinating is that, as with bones of giants all over the place, where this cave is located is where the NATO base was using for dropping bombs and for target practice. So I don't know if the cave even still exists to this day, but it was fascinating that it was there. And then in this country, they've been discovered all over the place. And, those bones that were sent to the Smithsonian have suddenly disappeared. And then when you come further and further and further in history, the Smithsonian destroyed a lot of the bones because they couldn't explain them. And one of the reasons during, when the U.S. government was going out towards the west and trying to wipe out the Indians, they found that there were giants among the Indian tribes that were being killed along with the Indians, but the giants were white. And so they took all of the bones because they didn't want the public to know that the government was killing white people. They just were, erasing the Indians. And then, of course, when they just started to discover them in the mounds in Mississippi, Tennessee, in that area, they dug them up, but then they had to repatriate them, so the bones had to be given back to the Indian tribes, who then either burned them or buried them. So while the stories of them are out there, and they're absolutely true, there were tribes of giants. There's no doubt about it. Out in Nevada, they had the Indian tribe there. Their stories were that the red-haired Indians were devastating the native population, and so they herded all of the giants into a cave, blanked up the opening to it, set fire, and killed all the giants. And many years later, 100 or so years later, when they were going in to harvest the bat guano, they started digging in these piles and piles of bat stuff. They came upon spears, and they came upon arrowheads, and they came upon bones of giants with red hair. So the stories are out there. They're in the legends of the Native Americans. They're certainly in our history. But for some reason, and I can't figure out why, I guess scientists can't figure out where they belong. So they, instead of trying to figure that out, they ignore it or say they don't exist, or just shove all talk of giants, into the realm of, that's just a myth, that's not history, that's not true. Well, the reality is they really did exist, and this is my opinion. I believe there were tribes of giants. And there have been graveyards that have been discovered of not only giants' bones, but little people's bones as well. So we've had both extremes in this country. I think one of my biggest arguments is that this country has such a rich history, and our history books have totally ignored it. I mean, our history books don't tell of the history of this continent. They feed garbage to kids, and kids grow up, and then they feed it to their kids. And it's very sad and very upsetting. One of the things that has recently been uncovered in the last 10 years or so is a cave called the Denosia Cave over its Turkey, Syria, over in that area. They dug up a tooth and a fingertip of a species that had not been discovered before. It's not Neanderthal. It's not traditional, human as we know it, but it's a link in between. And they were exceedingly tall, exceedingly sturdy, exceedingly bright. And the DNA, they have, in their mitochondrial DNA, they have what they call haploid X, which is a chromosome that is not frequent. However, they have found that it is in, South America, the Chile, Peru area. There are large groupings of people in Canada, North America, in the Native American, the first families, and then in certain areas in Europe. And they feel that these were very intelligent, strong people, that they did migrate to North America, to South America, way 12,000 years ago. And that these people were most probably shaman, and they were able to teach the groups, the tribes that they intermingled with, embroidery, sewing, flint stuff that had not been common. And I think that what is so fascinating about those people, the Deniscians, I keep pronouncing it wrong, that the thing about them that is so amazing is that they had a cosmology. They had, and cosmology being a spiritual belief that had to do with the Milky Way, it had to do with constellations out there, and that's probably where a lot of the astrological stuff came from so many thousands of years ago. So they easily could constitute what could be considered giants because they were 7 and 8 feet tall. Now, the biblical giants were 15 and 20 feet tall. I don't think that they're the same group, but I'm not positive. But I think the one thing that it does explain, especially when you're talking about the Denisovans, is that when you think of prehistoric, you think of ape-like people with their knuckles dragging on the ground, and that's not the truth at all. They looked more like we look today than people know and think, and they had amazing brains, and they were able to do so many things that they reasoned, and they had language at some point. And we aren't giving them enough credit. We're being taught that there was an intelligent life on Earth until Homo erectus happened, but that's not true. And it upsets me greatly that we aren't educating our kids that there were different groupings of people, that different waves of people that hit the United States, and some of them were giants. And in the mounds that have been opened up, and they found large. Some of these that have been dug up, the skull would fit over a man's head and shoulders. They were that big. But unfortunately, our DNA testing and radiocarbon testing weren't developed enough to be able to do that. And then repatriation happened, and all the museums had to give all of the bones and artifacts back to the tribes, and they've all disappeared. So now we're left with a culture that isn't preserving the history that we had in our hands. I mean, if you look at the reports of giant bones and and bodies being found in the late 1700s, 1800s, early 1900s. I mean, it's page after page after page after page. You know, Homer was plowing his field. He came upon this large skull. He put it over his head. They used it as a doorstop. I mean, yeah, unfortunately, our culture wasn't educated enough to realize to preserve this material. It's the same thing with when the Europeans invaded North America. They destroyed cultures and cosmologies that were far in advance of theirs, but they weren't as developed technologically, so that they deemed the people that were here as primitive and either tried to make them think their way or destroy them. So,
interesting. I got to ask you, so we got about 6.5 minutes before we go to break at the top of the hour. Where are the bodies?
Well, a lot of the bones were sent to the Smithsonian, and the Smithsonian at the time had this Clovis first thing, and they wouldn't acknowledge anything that was before the Clovis people. So they there is a story that they filled barges full of the bones and they took them out and dumped them in the ocean. I would probably believe part of that. And there are places now in Europe, they have preserved the bones. They have been able to do some DNA testing. They have been able to do some stuff there. But in this country, they've given them all back, and they've all been, it's kind of like if somebody went and, dug up my grandparents' grave and wanted to put their bones on display, I would be offended. I'd be curious first, but then I'd be offended. But apparently, this government gave them all back. All of the artifacts that were discovered in those mounds that were dug up. Just a lot of them, when they were dug up, they had not been exposed to the air in hundreds of years, maybe thousands, and so as the air hit them, they just disintegrated. But there were a lot that were preserved, and if you look in South America has amazing bones because they have them on display. They didn't give them back. They're there. They have elongated skulls. They have, they've got an amazing collection of bones down there, and they have giant bones down there. So they're around, but they're not available to North Americans, which is really too bad.
So with the Smithsonian allegedly having these bones, how many did they have? Is there any proof that they have these?
Oh, yeah. The Smithsonian has, they apparently every year or every 6 months put out a report, and there are several reports that reported giant bones. And in many cases, it's very much like the European scientists who were trying to figure out what culture was in what place at what time by the flints. And if a flint was, didn't come in at the right time, they said, well, it's a fake, it's a fraud. And I think that's happened here in the U.S., that if it doesn't meet the standards that have been traditionally set, that they're ignored, they're an anomaly, or they're a fake. And so, unfortunately, North America is, for the most part, ignorant of the amazing history and the amazing artifacts that are here in this country. I mean, for heaven's sakes, they tell our kids that this was a primitive country and they were just wandering Indians when the Pilgrims got here. But how do you explain the fact that the copper mines in Michigan and Minnesota have been constantly mined for the last 9,000 years? That doesn't make sense.
Were the giants, though, sorry for interrupting, were the giants, though, were they wandering all over this planet, and have they been in North America? We hear a lot of the First Nations and American Indian tribes talking about them, but are they still here, or have they been exorcised from this part of the world?
Well, the bones are still there for sure. And in many cases, a lot of the mounds that have been uncovered that have the giant bones in them, usually the giants were either one of the leaders or a shaman. They were given special burials. But if you're asking me if giants still to this day exist, I think that their DNA sure does, biblically speaking, and in a lot of the cases that I've read of, the giants had extra digits, fair skin, sometimes red hair, often red or auburn hair, and double rows of teeth. I have met people who have extra digits, double rows of teeth, same color hair. Now they're normal height, but those kind of qualities, especially when they run in family lines, so that it is something that the DNA is passed down through time. So that I think the remnants of giants are here for sure. And on the Indian tribes, especially in North America, Canada, they have the Denisovan haploid X, which would mean they are descendants of these large giant, they were large, 7-8 feet high, people that were here thousands of years ago. So they're still here, and there are still people that are abnormally tall. But the giants, the people, a lot of the basketball players, they're skinny. They're really skinny and really tall. But these people that I'm talking about were built more like football players.
Yes.
They were definitely large. There's no doubt about it. So are they still here? The remnants are, but I think that in many cases either they were, and we're going back thousands of years here, so that they interbred, they were hybrids, and as they married into tribes and into gatherings, they intermarried and probably over time got smaller. So are there real giants today? Probably not. But there are probably anomalies, but no tribes today, I don't think. Too bad.
Well, I want to ask you about the disease of gigantism, because there are very few human beings on this planet who suffer from that. And I'm just wondering if that derives from the giants or if that is something that is a genetic trait. We can get into that. Barbara, I'm going to get you to hold on as we're going to go to break here at the top of the hour. Barbara DeLong is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We are talking giants. Lots of places to go with this. We'll get to your questions in hour 2 as well. Make sure they are in capital letters, so that way I can read them if you're in one of our chat rooms, like the SOR Space Travelers Club on our website or Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio. We'll continue on right after this on the Mighty SOR. Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hi, this is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/spacedoutradio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESSA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night. This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio, where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
Hi there, this is Geraldine Orozco from San Francisco's Bay Area Meditation. I invite you to join me the first Tuesday of every month with Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. In this fast-paced world we live in, it's time for you to take some time for you. We'll cover every possible subject from powerful meditation to healing techniques to your own intuition and spirituality. So come join us for The Spiritual You.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Hey Spaced Out Radio fans, it's John Resig, founder of the CHIVE and CHIVE Charities. Our goal is to make the life of veterans, first responders, and those with rare medical conditions 10% happier. We do this by donating one grant item, ranging from vans to therapy programs to prosthetic limbs, to those who need it most. To contribute to Spaced Out Radio's official charity, head over to chivecharities.org and become a donor today.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at mightymoosebeard.com today.
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hey, this is Canadian Paranormal Investigator Mike Moore. The third Wednesday of every month, I'll be teaming up with Dave Scott to bring you Ghosts of the Great White North. Each month, we will bring on guests from across Canada to discuss their ghostly encounters. Canada is a paranormal hotbed with stories you've never heard, so we're going to bring them to you. So get comfy on your Chesterfield, grab a donut, and join us, eh?
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot THAL. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother is Watching.
A little bit of science, a little bit of skepticism. Add a dash of snark and you have the makings of Spaced Out Sundays with me, Everett Thiemer. Together we will look into the reality of the paranormal with an open eye and rational thought. Oh, did I mention there'll be plenty of woo as well? Your time spent with Spaced Out Sundays will make the night even better. The chat rooms are open, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. Want to say hello to everyone listening in on KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon, WQEE 99.1 FM in Newnan, Georgia, UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans, KDNF AM 1560 in Dangerfield, Texas. Hi to Chuck and everybody at Ridgecrest, California's KZFX 93.7 FM. On the digital side, we are on Kingdom of Nye Radio, All Praise Bart L, and Revolution Radio. Thanks for tuning us in. Don't forget, you can check out all of our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Ideopracticed. Ideopracticed is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. Read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Get a new book at We Read the Night. You can also shop at the SOR Vault, because you need some of our swag. You'd look good in it. And, of course, we got a great chat going. And you can be a part of it, too, at the SOR Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month. Barbara DeLong is here tonight. We are talking giants. Her website, barbaradelong.com, if you want to check it out. That's DeLong without the E on the end. What a great conversation we are having, and it's continuing right now. Barbara, welcome back.
Thank you, thank you.
You're very welcome. Very, very welcome. Right before the break, we were talking about giants. And we're going to continue that. And I asked you a question right before the break, and I'm going to reiterate it now for those just tuning in, about people who suffer from gigantism. These are people who never stop growing throughout their lives. And it is considered a very fatal disease because the body cannot keep expanding. A lot of people who suffer from gigantism usually die by the time they're 45 years old, so they do not have a long lifespan. But some people get to between that 7 and 8.5 foot mark. Never seem to go higher than that, but the fact is, it's out there. Do you believe this disease is related to giants that once roamed this earth?
No. That is a genetic anomaly. It is a genetic defect. The giants that roamed the earth, that roamed North America especially, their DNA was pure. They grew in proportion, and they continued to grow, and their lifespan was about the same as everyone else around them during that time frame. So it isn't a matter of people who suffer from gigantism or whatever. they physically, internally have defects all over the place as well. So they're not healthy, robust people. They're big, but they don't. And I've never met anybody with that condition, so I'm not speaking with a great deal of authority here. But I do know that when you grow out of proportion, and your growing spurts don't come to an end, that it becomes very painful and very uncomfortable, and your life is shorter than most. But the people that we're talking about, the giants that were here in North America and South America and really all over the world, were perfectly proportioned. They had the same lifespan. Now, a lot of the Denisovans, I keep pronouncing it wrong. And
Denisovans?
No, that's not it. That's what I thought it was. Denisovan.
Denisovans.
Yeah. I had Andrew Collins on the show, and I tried so hard to pronounce it right, and finally he pronounced it wrong, and I felt so much better. Denisovan, yeah. Those people had a brain capacity that was larger than ours, so that they were able to do things, and they were more advanced than often the groupings that they were in. And Andrew did say that they have found that this haploid X that they carried is linked to autism, which would in some ways make sense. People who are autistic often have areas that they are very brilliant in, and people who have autism often prefer to be in small groups. And the Denisovan people were in small groups, and they sort of blended in with larger groups and then intermarried and intermixed and stuff like that. So there is the suggestion that having this haploid X opens you to the possibility of having autism, but it isn't a guarantee for sure. But it's interesting the amount of scientific work that can be done with, and I reiterate, the tip of the little finger and one tooth is all they have of these people that they've been able to create this history from, which is so amazing. And with the tools that we have today, if we were able to get at a lot of those giant bones from the past, I think we could have explained our history to a much better, more intricate degree than we have now. And certainly it's such a shame because there are still mounds that have yet to be, they can't now. They can't dig into them because they're theoretically burial plots. So that there's no way of getting our hands on, legally, any of the giant bones anymore in this country.
How come?
But because of the repatriation, that they are declared burial sites, and therefore you can't dig into them, not even for historical stuff.
Are you talking about these giant mounds that are found across the United States?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, I'm so into this, I kind of assume everybody knows what I'm talking about. Yes, the mound builders, and there are mounds all over this country, and a lot, the ones that have not been dug into that are obviously burial mounds or constructive mounds, they can't dig into them to find artifacts or to find bones or anything like that. It's illegal now. So where once we had proof of larger statured people, and the bones were on display in museums, once the law was passed and everybody had to repatriate all of their artifacts and bones to the tribe which they came from, they're gone. And nobody can display them, and it's against the law.
Is that against also the American Indian rules and traditions as well?
Well, they are burial grounds. They are cemeteries. So, yeah, and the native and the first families, the native peoples, objected to their graveyards being dug up and their ancestors being displayed. And I can understand that. It's a shame in a way because it takes away our ability to learn more of the history. I understand it, but and it makes sense. It does make sense, but it's such a shame because you lose a link to history, and when you lose that link to history, then things fall apart, and then things don't make sense, and then no one takes it seriously. South America does not have that kind of a rule, so in South America there are giant bones and artifacts that come from that time frame. So, if you want to learn about giants, you have to go to South America because that's where you can actually see them.
I do have to ask, in North America, because a lot of people have encounters with Sasquatch, Bigfoot, whatever the terminology for the region is, and these creatures are said to be between 7 and 10 feet tall. Some people have claimed that they've seen them as high as 12 to 15 feet tall. Could this be the giants that we are talking about, or do you think Sasquatch is a completely different breed?
I think it's a completely different breed. The giants that we're talking about were intermingling with Native American groups and other cultures. They were and the ones that came from Europe certainly worked their way around into the groupings that were there. They were accepted. They interbred with the Neanderthals and the Homo erectus and modern humans, and that's something that I think people don't understand. There isn't a line of there was this group, there was this group, there was this group, there was this group. Everybody intermingled so that there were periods of time where there was Homo erectus, that's what we are, along with Neanderthal, along with the Denisovan, along with other subcultures as well. It was all a great big mix, and then some survived and some came to an end because there were no more like them, and so some died out, and so the genes were carried forth through the children. But it wasn't these are the apes and these are the people. Didn't happen that way. And
Question.
As far as
go ahead, finish up.
As far as Bigfoot and Sasquatch and the Yeti go, I have nothing to base my theory on. That said, I think they're interdimensional travelers. That they go in and out between dimensions. That's why we haven't found. Yeah, Sasquatch,
yeah,
Yeti.
Me too.
They're interdimensional. As far as I'm concerned, they're interdimensional because otherwise we would have been able to. And first of all, I don't think that we should try to trap them because I would hate to have somebody try to trap me. You have to give them the credit for having intelligence and not getting too close to us. I mean, it's not a wild animal. To my knowledge, there aren't a lot of, or any. At least Bigfoot doesn't attack people. The more suspicious they get is throwing stones or pounding trees with sticks. They're not out to hurt anybody. They should be left alone. My theory, my thought.
I have a question coming from Joey in the SOR Space Travelers Club on our website. Barbara, do you know of the large burial mound in Guana Ecological Preserve in Florida, south of Jacksonville, that is being excavated?
No, I didn't. But if they come upon human bones, they're going to have to stop. Because that would say it would be a burial. And, some of these mounds, like Monk's Mound, They don't know if there are bones in there. But if they are excavating a mound, it may well have been, if they come upon human bones, they're going to have to stop because that would mean it was a burial mound. And the government will stop them.
Interesting. So where are the giants today? Are they still... Well, and the reason why I ask is there are a multitude of reports, and I don't know how real they are, but there are people who say that the military has killed giants in the Middle East during the wars in Afghanistan and Syria, and there have been strange reports coming out of there, one including a team of specialized Army Rangers, and a good friend of mine, Jeray, is an ex-Army Ranger, and he did 4 tours of duty in Afghanistan and Iraq. God bless him for being a hero. And I asked him about that, and he said that was a story that nobody ever heard of. I was the first who had ever asked him about that, which didn't surprise me. Mm-hmm. But do you believe that American forces were hunting giants or currently are hunting giants in the Middle East?
I would believe anything. The government has tried to subdue and keep information back from the general public for decades. I think the only time I can remember when the kid in North Korea became emperor, there was a picture of his army lining up, and it was a big panorama photo, and you saw head, and then huge tall man, and then head. So I think giants do exist, but I don't believe they exist in tribes. So I know our government has hunted down giants and killed them back in the days when we were trying to clear the Indians out of the West. But I don't believe that gene has survived in that there would be a tribe of them. Their DNA has become so intermingled with so many other DNAs over the last 10, 12,000 years that the element of the big ones is no more. At least that's in my belief system. I don't believe over in that part of the world. I mean, that's where they originated from. So it would make sense if there were tribes of them that they would be over there. But I don't think so. I think that there's been too much of an intermingling of other cultures, not species, but cultures, and it's over 9,000 years, 10,000 years, maybe more. So no, I don't think giants. I don't believe there are tribes of giants anymore. And you could show me a tribe of giants, and I'd change my whole spiel in a heartbeat. But I don't believe they would exist today, because if they did, we would have wiped them out by now, or the Army would have decided to take their DNA and try to make a master race out of them, just like Hitler did.
Just like Hitler did.
Mm-hmm.
Explain that.
Oh, Hitler was looking for the Aryan race, and he had sent his SS troops all over the place looking for the pure Aryan race. They went to the Himalayas. They went all over the place, and he believed that was the master race, and that they would be bigger, and that they would be blonde-haired and blue-eyed, and he had he had blonde-haired, blue-eyed women, and he was marrying them to blonde-haired, blue-eyed army people, and he had a baby factory going there. I've met a couple of people that were children that were bred to be Aryans, to be part of his army, and happily it didn't last. But yeah, I mean, people have been trying to manipulate people, cultures for a long time. And it, you know, he was searching out the source of the Aryan race. He was also looking for the Ark of the Covenant and the Spirit of Destiny and all of that stuff. But there is something about the belief that there, you know, once were giants, and I do believe there were. When Admiral Byrd flew into the Hollow Earth, according to his diary, he didn't meet giants. He just met people that were healthier and bigger, but he never called them giants. And I don't know that that's true, but that's what his notebook said.
Barbara DeLong is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We got about 2 minutes before we have to go to break at the bottom of the hour. Barbara, I want to get to a quick question from Gail. She is asking, where's the proof? What makes so many believe giant bones are hidden or have been destroyed at the Smithsonian?
Well, in the Smithsonian archives, they have written that they have received them. So, I mean, they won't show you the bones, but they do admit that they have written reports on them, so that they have had them at one point in time. So there is, you know, the written documentation, although the bones themselves have either been repatriated or destroyed. You know, you want to change history, you erase as much of it as you can, and eventually, after several generations, it never happened. It's
so
a very sad part of it.
What is the purpose of wiping these giants out then?
Because at one point in time, the Smithsonian people wanted to believe that you know, the North America was not populated until a certain time point, the Clovis point, and nothing happened before the Clovis people, and that's what they had written. And of course, if you suddenly are you're able to produce information or artifacts that say, oh no, they weren't the first here. There were people here way before that. There were nations here. There were huge cultures that covered a vast part of North America. It would change history, and in order to change history, they have to change history books. And in order to change history books, they have to go through a whole bunch of stuff. So it's easier to cling to the old rather than embracing the new. And that's what this country has done, unfortunately.
Well, I think there could be some debate on that, but unfortunately, we have to go to break at the bottom of the hour. Barbara DeLong is our guest tonight. We are continuing our talk about giants on Spaced Out Radio. Barbara's website, BarbaraDeLong, without an E, .com, if you want to check it out. She has a lot of fantastic information, especially on giants, on her website. Beautifully put. It's almost like an encyclopedia. Make sure you check that on out. More with Barbara DeLong on Spaced Out Radio coming up after this.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose, Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Finish off your weekend and kick off your new week with me, Everett Thiemer, right here on Spaced Out Sundays. I'm going to bring you great guests, a little bit of snark, and plenty of information to think about. But don't worry, there's going to be plenty of woo as well. We are going to hit everything in the paranormal and supernatural, including the odd psychic Sundays. So tune us in on Sunday, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the CHIVE and CHIVE Charities. If you know anything about our website, you'd know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, CHIVE Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio, you can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night. This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot THAL, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, BUMBLEFOOT.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
We pass the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Glad to have each and every one of you tuning us on in. Reminder, if you've missed portions of this show or others, you can always check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. You could join the chat in the SOR Space Travelers Club for only $5 a month. Some cool features there that we are building. More to come very, very soon. You can read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Rock out to Bumblefoot. Buy yourself a new book on We Read the Night. And, of course, you can always do a little shopping at the SOR Vault. Grab some great Spaced Out Radio swag today. We introduced Barbara DeLong once again. We are talking giants tonight on the show. Her website, barbaradelong.com, if you want to check it on out, because she has, just a plethora of really cool stuff and information on her website. So make sure you head on over there as well. Barbara, welcome back to the show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. This has been a true joy. I really appreciate the opportunity to, talk about some of this stuff.
Well, I look forward to it, too. I look forward to it as well because, very rarely do we get into a lot of these fringe of the fringe type topics like giants. And right before the break, we were talking about the potential giants in the Middle East and the fact that there has been rumors, reports, probably blown up, maybe fake news stories about the whole idea that the military has been tracking down these giants. But you said that you wouldn't be surprised if it was happening. Before the last 2 decades where we've been at war in the Middle East, were there reports of giants being seen out there?
Not that I know of. And you got to understand, that's really, with the exception of some very beautiful cities that are out there, it's really pretty primitive groundwork. So, I would be very surprised if there were tribes of giants there. I'm not saying they're not, but I would be surprised. There's very little that hasn't been spotted. I mean, I know that in South America, they use LIDAR and they're able to see old where ancient cities were and stuff like that. But out in that area where there's so much fighting and destruction going on, I don't think so. Now, there are certainly tribes of people that are very, very vicious and warlike and not too respectful of human life and limb. And they are vicious warriors. The Gurkhas, to name one, is a tribe that at one time had an amazing honor code, but they were very warlike. So, it just, giants were, from what I've read, from what I believe, they were gentle giants. They weren't monsters. They weren't vicious. They didn't want to wipe out anybody. They blended in. And, with the exception of maybe in the Bible where they had some giants that were a tad cannibalistic, the ones that I have heard about and read about, They blended in with the indigenous people. They didn't wipe them out. They weren't here to conquer. They were here to share, to teach, and to be part of a group. So I would find it hard to believe that our military would hunt down giants and kill them. I just, I don't believe that our military has other things to do, and hunting down giants is not top of the list, I don't think. But I could be wrong. I mean, what do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I think if they found it or were chasing some of these down and they found one, I do believe still in the power of mainstream journalism would cover that. It might not be CNN or Fox or somebody like that, but there's a lot of freelance reporters that are running around in the Middle East trying to get that next big break as a foreign correspondent. And I think if that story did break with pictures and quotes, we would definitely get that story. I don't buy it. I want to believe because I like my tinfoil and I like the woo factor, but do I think on a realistic level? No, I don't, because there's a lot of hidden quotes around these stories.
Our military, the guys on the ground, have exceptional training, and they are not warmongers. They are defensively trained, and yes, they attack, and yes, they fight. But our military is a group of amazingly dedicated young men and women, and I cannot believe that they would do that. Now, you go up the chain, and then maybe there are some crazy people, but I don't believe that would happen. And to be honest with you, I don't believe that there are any real journalists left alive today. Everybody's out for sensationalism, and their code used to be you get things confirmed 3 different times before you publish it. That's out the window. Give me good gossip, I'll print it any time. That's the way they're behaving today. Nobody is looking for the truth. They're looking for something to be sensationalized or to frighten people or to manipulate people. So we live in a time that is very difficult to know where the truth is and what the truth is. And unfortunately, we're left to try to dig and find the truth, and sometimes the sources that we have to utilize to find that truth are as screwed up as the people spreading lies. When Rendlesham Forest happened, the first thing the military did was to drug and put post-hypnotic suggestions in the minds of the people that had actually seen the experience to hide it from the general public. Now, why? I mean, it happened in the 80s, By the 80s, everybody believed in UFOs. Nobody was going to be, frightened that a UFO landed or whatever. But for some reason, our government is afraid in many ways to tell us the truth about a lot of things. So, I stand back and I kind of wonder what's going to happen next, because you know that there has to be truth out there, but you don't know how to get at it. And you don't know how to trust the truth sometimes when you actually get it. So it's a very strange time for anyone who thinks and wants to know the truth, just to try to find it. And sometimes the truth is very simple and very easy, and sometimes it just it surprises the daylights out of you. So, while I don't go into politics, and I refuse to go into politics, but the government as a whole seems to have been keeping the lid on so much stuff, especially about unidentified flying objects and their research and the medical research that's been going on that they've found cures for that they're not letting out there. I mean, there's so much going on. It's really quite frightening and challenging, to find your own inner truth and to know that, if something is said to you, to feel whether it's right or not and to go by that. To not necessarily listen to what someone says, but to feel what is really the truth. And I think that's one of the things that all of us have to struggle with these days, to trust your own intuition and, don't break the law, for heaven's sakes, but trust your intuition and go in those directions that feel right to you, and and not be steered by someone else, but by your own inner guidance system, which is far better than listening to someone else. I'll get off my soapbox now.
Iron Chariot has a question in the SOR Space Travelers Club on our website. He's asking, back in history, did you ever hear the story of Leonardo da Vinci coming across giants when he said that he was to have gone inside a cave?
No, I haven't, but I actually wouldn't be surprised. Da Vinci was brilliant, and his notebooks haven't all been translated because, of course, he wrote in mirror script. He was way ahead of his time. He designed helicopters and all sorts of things. So it wouldn't surprise me. He didn't have the limitations put on him that most people do. He had a mind that was, and a mind and a heart that was able to reach beyond what everybody said was normal, and he flew. It was amazing. He was definitely a man, an anachronism. He probably would. Of course, I don't know if he'd like it today or not, but he was able to, to the best of his ability, put ideas out there, and in some of his paintings even leave messages for people to, if they can figure them out. So, yeah, I would believe that.
What about the giant Cyclops? Was that real or just mythical?
Well, I do believe that all of those fables have a bit of truth in them. It wouldn't surprise me if there was a giant who only had one eye. Not necessarily that it was in the middle of his head, but that only had one eye. Again, giants were, St. Patrick was was theoretically a giant. Noah was supposedly a giant. If you go back biblically, there are a lot of giants that are in the Bible that on top of the 12 tribes that are there, or not 12. It's more than 12. So you kind of. Do I believe that Cyclopses were a strain or a tribe of one-eyed giants? Probably not. But I could see a giant being one-eyed and people making up tales about it. I mean, that's where most of the fables and stories of the gods of old came from, so why not? No, I don't think Cyclops has ever existed, but that's just me.
Sparky in the SOR Space Travelers Club has a question. Says, basically along the lines of, if the story is true that the military hunted down giants and carted them off, does this mean maybe they were trying to develop super soldiers?
That wouldn't surprise me. They've been working with engineering DNA and creating super soldiers. That's something that, if you actually could find them already done, that would be cool. You would just take their DNA, replicate it, and engineer it, and adjust it for whatever you wanted, and create your own military unit that way. I don't believe that they are doing that, but you unfortunately today, when a new discovery of any sort is made, the first thing the government wants to do is militarize it. So, if they found a group of people like that, of course they would do that, unfortunately.
Do you believe giants are still roaming the earth, and if so, where?
No, I don't believe so. I believe that they are a species of race that has disappeared. It's intermarried. There's been intermingling of genetics, so that there are parts of what once was a pure race that is now hybrid. But no, I don't believe that a full-blown giant is still in existence. A full-blooded true giant would have to have come down through pure-blooded giants and pure-blooded giants, and we're talking thousands and thousands and 9, 10, 12,000 years. What existed back then, doesn't exist today. Unfortunately, I think it'd be kind of cool to have a couple giants around, but no, I don't believe they still exist.
Well, that's too bad. That's too bad. Be kind of cool to see where these are going. But this is a phenomena where these reports have been recorded basically on every continent except Antarctica.
Well, you never know about Antarctica because there was a time where that was a tropical zone, a temperate one. Anyhow, there may well be. It is a solid landmass. So if the ice ever melts, the miles of ice that are there, if it ever melts, there may be they may discover that there were villages there, and there may well be bones of giants there as well. Probably not. It seems to have existed in the Turkey, Syria area, and the giant, at least the Denisovans. That's where they kind of migrated from, and they hit Australia, they hit Polynesia, they hit west coast of South America eventually, and then, of course, there were waves that went up over the land bridge, and then there were some that came from Europe over, before the Vikings, I might add. But I don't think they migrated that way. But you never know about Antarctica. That's undiscovered territory here.
Well, okay, let's say they were there as well. So basically you believe that these skeletons or these giants roamed around every continent. Would that have been during the days of Pangea?
Before that, probably. You got to understand, Earth is millions of years old, and in those millions of years, at least currently to science knowledge, whatever, there have been at least 5 mass extinction events that have taken place. And, whatever societies were here were wiped out, and then the few remaining people got together and then built society again, and then it was wiped out again by a flood or a comet or whatever. So it's hard to say. It's really hard to say. I think a lot of things that we can't explain today really are leftovers from before the last mass extinction. And, then a comet hit, and there was a small ice age, and then humanity, society started all over again. Lots going on this planet that, we have no record of.
Very true. Very true. Were there certain areas where there's a lot more giants reported, whether it's in Asia, North America, South America, Europe?
Well, the Bible talks a lot about Bible territory, of course. And you have your Greek and Roman gods that were probably giants. So I guess the majority of places where they have been found are where you have cultures that have fables of giants. So probably in those parts of Europe, there aren't a lot of giants. Really. Of course, they did come from Japan and China too, and then Polynesia. So I don't. Yeah, I guess there are areas. Europe. Not Africa. I haven't heard of that many in Africa at all, or India, but more or less areas that have access to large bodies of water because that's how they migrated. So coastal, maybe coastal. I know a lot of the Denisovan mitochondrial people are in the same clusters on the world as those who are said to be survivors of Atlantis, which is interesting.
Interesting, to say the least.
Very.
We only have a couple minutes here before we got to go to break at the top of the hour. Barbara DeLong is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I'm wondering, in regards to when these creatures do you feel died out off this planet?
Oh, wow, that's a good question. Well, I know that in the 1500s, they were gone. And when you are talking about the bones that were found in this country, of course, there have been Indians here for 9,000 years. Probably they became less and less frequent right around the time of the last ice age. There's always a leftover here and there, but I would say that they're yeah, but wait, the natives in Nevada were killing giants out, in their history, which wasn't that far back. I don't know. They became, they weren't a large group to begin with, so that, they intermarried and they intermixed and there were hybrids, and then, they kind of, I think, shrank in size, and not everybody shrank in size, but probably wiped out totally. Probably they're wiped out totally now, for sure. But I don't have a really good answer for that. They've been, their existence has been talked about for as long as anybody can remember. But to physically be present, probably maybe, 1,000 years.
That's not a long time ago.
Yeah, long time ago. That's a good answer.
Well, Barbara, I'm going to get you to hold on, because when we come back with Barbara DeLong, we're going to switch gears. Does the veil really thin around Halloween time as we enter Oh Hallows Eve? We'll be back with more Space Out Radio in Hour 3 after this.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
we're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/spacedoutradio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the CHIVE and CHIVE Charities. If you know anything about our website, you'd know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, CHIVE Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch. Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio. At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thaw, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
A little bit of science, a little bit of skepticism. Add a dash of snark and you have the makings of Spaced Out Sundays with me, Everett Themer. Together we will look into the reality of the paranormal with an open eye and rational thought. Oh, did I mention there'll be plenty of woo as well? Your time spent with Spaced Out Sundays will make the night even better. The chat rooms are open, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night. This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Welcome back for the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Great to have each and every one of you with us. Appreciate that. We want to give a shout out to everybody listening in on WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia, UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans, KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon, KZFX 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California, and KDNF AM 1560 in Dangerfield, Texas. On the digital side, we are proud to broadcast on Revolution Radio and Kingdom of Nye Radio. Don't forget, you can check out all of our archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Ideopraxist. Ideopraxist is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. You could rock out to Bumblefoot, read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. It's updated daily. Do a little shopping at the SOR Vault, because you'd look good in our swag. Sign up for the SOR Space Travelers Club. Yeah, that's a lot of fun. Great chat going on in there tonight. Thank you so much. And, of course, if you need a new book of the weird and strange, head on over to We Read the Night. For the final time tonight, we introduce Barbara DeLong. She is a researcher. Her website, barbaradelong.com, if you want to check it on out. And for the first couple of hours, we were talking about giants, but we're switching gears here because it's Halloween. And there are many who believe, Barbara, that there is this veil that becomes ultra thin at Halloween time. I welcome you back, and I'm curious your answer on that.
Well, it is the end of one season, beginning of another. But in my experience, as far as a veil goes, I don't think there is one. I think it's a wonderful legend. It's a wonderful theory. It's a wonderful history. But in reality, between the dimensions, I don't believe there is a veil, except between about the Thanksgiving time to a couple of weeks after New Year's, and then again at the bottom of the year, May into June and maybe a little into July, you will find that there is a greater percentage of people passing away. And metaphysically speaking, people say that that's a veil when it is easier for someone who is going to pass away to pass over. I don't think there is a study course on how to pass over or anything like that, but if you will, look at numbers, you'll find that those are time frames when there's a greater percentage of people passing. As far as spirits rising up and flying around and scaring children, they don't do that. When we pass over, we do go to another dimension. And in my experience as a medium, and now and then I've caught an energy that really wanted to come back and scare the daylights out of somebody and rattle change, but it doesn't happen. It truly doesn't happen. So as far as being a spooky time of year, it is a pagan belief system, but it's not one that I adhere to. I don't think that this is a time when it is a darker time of the year. It is a time when nature is going into hibernation to a degree, so that there is a sense of a void being created energetically. But I don't believe that spirits haunt or rise up out of the ground and scare people. Just don't believe that. Spirits are a pure form of energy. They have a greater good in consciousness, and when they leave this plane, they may visit, but usually it's their energy that we see if we're sensing a spirit from somebody who's passed away. We're sensing the memory of their energy, and that can be a very real experience. But spirits that do come back and visit aren't frightening. They're coming back out of love. So, hauntings and stuff like that, I just, while there are energetics and there are energies and there are shadows, in other words, an imprint on time that may look like somebody, but it's not their spirit. It's the picture of their energy that we're seeing. So I've been on ghost investigations and things like that, and I've not, in my experience, while I can communicate with a spirit that has passed over, they don't have the ability to inflict harm or anything. They really are trying to pass on a message of love. So this is not a scary time, and I don't believe there is a veil that is allowing people to come up out of the ground. It just doesn't happen. And I've been around a long time, and I'm pretty sure that if anybody was going to haunt anyone, I would have been subject to a haunting from before now, and it's just not happened. So in my experience, I don't believe there is a veil, and I don't believe spirits come back to hurt people or haunt people. They come back to give them a message of love, for sure. But other than that, I don't believe in ghosts. When your spirit's done, trust me, when it's released from the human vehicle it's been traveling in, it has much better things to do than, come back here and scare people. It's released from a burden because we are a spirit on a human journey, and we are trapped in many ways in a human form. And when we are released from that human form, we go back into an energetic and etheric body. And there's a sense of freedom and love and eternity, and knowing that we have been released so that we can move forward, and if we choose to reincarnate, we do that. But I don't believe in ghosts. I guess is the best way to put it.
So what's the difference between a spirit and a ghost, then?
Well, a ghost is, I don't believe in ghosts. A spirit is that which you carry within you that gives you the life force that enables you to have an experience in the physical form. And a spirit in order to grow and experience certain things has to incarnate into a physical form in order to experience those things. So it's a way of adding to its wealth of knowledge and evolving even further. But each lifetime is merely another. I mean, it isn't just hopscotching through time. There's a purpose. There's a reason. The journey has purpose to it over eons and eons and eons of time. Ghosts are something, frankly, I believe that people made to scare children to stay at home at night. I mean, I don't believe ghosts are real. In the way, people talk about them, hauntings and things like that. Don't believe it. Haven't experienced it. If I had experienced it, I would be talking differently, but I haven't experienced it, and I've been in this field for a really long time.
So you've never seen a ghost. You've never had that experience. What about the hundreds of thousands of people who have had that experience? Are you saying it's a figment of their imagination?
I would say so. I believe that our minds are very powerful tools, that, hallucinations do happen, that sometimes fear makes things happen, so that sometimes people who sometimes it is a fear or an energy, coming from you that makes you perceive something, and sometimes it's a desire or a need to see someone again, that will, holographically make that happen. But no, I don't believe that. And people that have had that experience, I know they believe that's what has happened. But, I've been present when people have said, oh, there's a ghost over in the corner, and I may have seen an energy, but I don't feel a spirit there, and there's a difference. Energy can do amazing things. You can project energy. You can share energy. You can create things with energy. But to have a spirit with that energy, I have not seen. I've seen energy. I've seen people energetically do amazing things. So it's a matter of perception, and, everybody who, I wouldn't call anybody a liar, but I would say in my experience, I have seen energy do things that had no spirit connected to it. Do you understand?
Well, kind of, but I mean, you can't say hundreds of thousands of people have been wrong, though, because I look back to my own ghostly experiences where I've seen apparitions standing right in front of me and disappear right in front of me. Mm-hmm. I think I'm a pretty good judgment of character on what's real and what's not.
Well, I would not say you didn't see that, but I would say that your brain is powerful, and that your perception can see something that isn't there often, and it depends if what you saw was did you see someone you knew, or did you see just an apparition?
Saw an apparition. I watched it for about 4 or 5 seconds before it disappeared right behind my or right in front of my tree, right in front of me. It didn't walk away. It just vanished right in front of my eyes.
I would say that you were perceiving something that easily could have been what I call a shadow imprint in time. And quite often times something very traumatic can happen, and it can be so phenomenally traumatic that time is imprinted with a shadow of that experience. And depending on a person's ability to sense and feel and see, you can easily see, somebody who is in period dress walking someplace, and it's almost like you burn an imprint into something, and there's no life force or spirit connected to that imprint, and yet you see it over and over and over again. And that's a lot of times what people misinterpret as a ghost. Something like 9/11, when that happened, it was such a traumatic event. A lot of spirits imprinted time with that moment at their passing. And so it wouldn't surprise me if people saw apparitions in that area, which was a replay of what had happened in time. And you have to be a sensitive person. You have to have an openness to see it. And if you are, then you're seeing a replay of something that has happened in the past, but there's not a spiritual energy connected to what you're seeing. I'm not saying you didn't see something. I'm saying what you saw most probably was a shadow of something that happened decades ago or whatever, and you were sensitive enough to see it and recognize it, and then it moved on. And
what about aliens then?
I've never seen one, so I can't say they do exist or they don't exist. I know lots of people have had experiences. I'm not one of them. So it's kind of like, if I see one, I'll believe in them, and until I see one, I'm going to be doubtful. I know people who swear they talk to reptilians, and they've been taken aboard spaceships, and Betty and Barney Hill. I mean, you can't argue with them. But and what the stuff she was able to draw after that abduction, she had planets in it that there hadn't been discovered when she was drawing the maps she was drawing. So there's a great deal of material out there that I find very compelling, and then there's other stuff that I think some people have just let their imaginations run wild with them. I'm not saying they don't exist. I'm saying I haven't met one. Well, I've met a couple of weird people that could be aliens, but, you can't prove it.
Try dealing with my Twitter crowd on a nightly basis.
Yes. I met a couple of people I'm sure have to be aliens. They can't possibly be human. But, I don't know. If I ever meet one, and if I ever, actually come face to face with one, then I will be a believer, and I will absolutely endorse the devil out of it. But until then, I think that a lot of people who say they have seen aliens, I don't believe have. I believe that they are just, they're living a hallucination. And there may well be people out there that have seen them and are keeping very quiet about it because they really don't want to make a big deal of it. So that's something that I am open to meet one, and I'm open to experience the whole thing. And when I do, I promise you, I will absolutely be upfront and honest about it. But until then, I'm going to have to reserve judgment.
I must be on some fantastic drugs then. Absolute fantastic drugs.
Well, I'd love to meet.
I want some of what I'm having right now. Holy cow.
I would love to meet and speak with Billy Meyer, because he's one person that has talked with aliens, and what he's written is so unbelievable and phenomenal that I mean, are you familiar with the Billy Meyer material?
Yes, I don't buy it, but that's just me.
It's impressive what he's done, considering he has no education. So, love to talk to him. I mean, I'm open to be convinced. I'm all for it. Convince me. But you're going to have to really convince me. So, but like I said, there's some situations that you can't explain, and it has to have something. There has to have been some sort of communication. But a lot of people, though, I do question their stories. But they have good stories, and it may well be real. I'm just not sure I buy it. But I'll keep you posted.
Oh, we should have started this debate about an hour ago. This could have been fun.
Oh, absolutely.
How silly of me to ask this with like 3.5 minutes to go tonight. Very silly.
Another time.
Well, I will say this, because the beauty of having this part of the microphone is I can always sneak in the final word because I'm a little cocky and brash that way. Check out Dr. Edgar Mitchell's Free Experiencers group.
Okay.
On their website. And now Dr. Mitchell, as you know, was the sixth man to walk on the moon, and he was very much adept in his knowledge about UFOs and extraterrestrial contact. And their statistics are amazing. Absolutely amazing that they have racked up. And they have a bunch of very, very brilliant people working for that site. So much so that Tom DeLong with an E tried to buy their statistics just so he could bury them.
On the dog.
Because he's on the negative alien plane that all ETs are bad and we need to nuke them.
Well, he's no relative of mine then.
Well, that's because you dropped the E, so that works. That works. Barbara, we only have about 90 seconds here left. I would love it if you could do me a favor, introduce people to your website, where they can find your podcast, and the rest of your work.
Sure. The website is www.barbaradelong.com. The podcast is Nightlight Radio. Do it on Blog Talk Radio, but it's on YouTube. And all you have to do is go to Barbara DeLong on YouTube. I keep things simple. And I'll, write along with you. If you enjoy what you hear on all of the podcasts there, please subscribe.
That'd be wonderful. Be wonderful. We can have this debate on your show. Call me up. Call me up.
I'll do that.
Let's do that. Let's do that.
Sure.
I'm good for that. I am totally good for that. We'll have some fun with that because you're a sweetheart. And I want to say thank you so much for coming on Spaced Out Radio tonight. What a pleasure.
Oh, my treat, too, let me tell you.
And your website is very, very well put together, especially with the writings and the pieces you have from Giants to Intuition and everything that you have on there. Great work on that, too.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's the way we do things around here. We're nice that way. Very, very nice that way. Barbara, I'm going to have to get you to hold on here because it's that time of the night where I got to start prepping for the last half hour of the show because we're going to go to commercial break here momentarily. But don't worry, fans. We got another 30 minutes left where we're going to get to the SOR Newswire. And the thought of the Dave. Marty, you better have that clown picture ready on Twitter. I would appreciate that. More Spaced Out Radio coming up after this.
A little bit of science, a little bit of skepticism. Add a dash of snark and you have the makings of Spaced Out Sundays with me, Everett Thieme. Together we will look into the reality of the paranormal with an open eye and rational thought. Oh, did I mention there'll be plenty of woo as well? Your time spent with Spaced Out Sundays will make the night even better. Chat rooms are open 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Hey Spaced Out Radio fans, it's John Resig, founder of the CHIVE and CHIVE Charities. Our goal is to make the life of veterans, first responders, and those with rare medical conditions 10% happier. We do this by donating one grant item, ranging from dance to therapy programs to prosthetic limbs, to those who need it most. To contribute to Spaced Out Radio's official charity, head over to chivecharities.org and become a donor today.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com. Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night. This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today. We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott. Hair down, beanie on. It's getting cold outside. Yay, it's supposed to snow here tomorrow. Yay. I'm so excited about that. By God, it's not even November. Not even November. The kids haven't even been trick-or-treating. Hey, speaking of which, I want to get into this right off the bat, because you know the website. Go to Space Travelers Club. News, books, shopping, archives over there. You know where it goes. But I want to just make a quick note. Tomorrow night, if you're one of the millions of people who are going to be handing out candy tomorrow night, or this evening, depending on where you are, do me a favor. If you see some teenagers in costumes, don't give them crap for saying, aren't you a little too old for this? No. You know what? They're not. If you have adults coming up to your door, hitting you up for candy, give them some candy. It's all about the spirit of a great, fun night. Think about it. Those kids, those teenage kids, let's get back to them for a second. They could be out vandalizing. They could be out causing havoc, stealing from people. But no, they decided to dress up and go door to door to enjoy the night and go trick-or-treating. So don't be rude at your door and say, are you old and aren't you a little too old for this? Nobody has to grow up. It's Halloween. It's a costume night. And besides, I'll give you a quick example. Because a good friend of mine, they're good friends of ours. Okay? Their daughter is handicapped. She has autism. So there's certain things she doesn't understand. She's 14 years old. Last year, she started getting the comments, aren't you a little old for this? But she couldn't understand, and it hurt her feelings. So what harm does it do? What harm does it do? I'm not trying to lecture here or anything like that. But by God, just remember, if you have teenagers coming to your door on Halloween night, sure, the little kids are cute. You know, and the smaller, the cuter they are. And the excitement in the kids' faces is great. But just remember, teenagers are still kids too. And they could be doing a lot worse out there than trick-or-treating at your door. So give them a break. Give them some candy. None of those gross rocket things, okay? Give them a good piece of candy. And instead congratulate them maybe on their costumes. Congratulate them on, trying to remain with the season of Halloween. There. That's my rant for the night. Speaking of the news, it's on spacedoutradio.com, the SOR Newswire. Captain Shirk keeps us updated daily. Here we go. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, the WTF, and sometimes the downright awesome. You know, the only guy who should be feeling bad right now in Major League Baseball. Oh, yeah. When you sign a $300 million plus contract with the Philadelphia Phillies and leave the team you've only played for, the only team you've played for, and they go on and win the World Series without you, that says a lot. Bryce Harper, you must be feeling like a bag of dog do right now. Why? Because the Washington Nationals claim their first world championship in franchise history, defeating the Houston Astros tonight in Game 7, 6-2. By the way, history made tonight because this is the only World Series in history where the road team won every single game. Washington won the first 2 games in Houston, then Houston returned the favor by taking 3 straight in D.C. Yeah, and then the Nats won 2 more in Texas. My gosh, what a great ball season. I love baseball. You know, as much as I'm a hockey guy, I love hockey, okay? Hockey is in my blood. It's in my soul. I was never really good at it, but I was pretty good at fighting back in the day. Now I'm just unattractive and obese. But nonetheless, it was a lot of fun. But if God one day said, I'll give you a choice, one hockey game professionally in the NHL or one baseball game, I'd choose baseball. 9 times out of 10, I would choose baseball. Something beautiful about baseball. And another season wraps up. Now, I can tell you right now, Montreal Expos fans are crying about this because it was 25 years ago that the Expos were 74-40 when the strike ended the season. They were supposed to play in the World Series, probably would have made it. Pedro Martinez on the mound, Larry Walker in his prime. Oh, yeah, that was one hell of a baseball team. And then the strike. The Expos never recovered. And now Montreal Expos fans have to watch the Nationals win the World Series. Oh, tough day in Montreal. Tough day in Montreal. All right. So apparently the Mothmen are being seen in Rosemont, Illinois now. Yeah. Apparently there was a witness who saw a giant-sized bat flying overhead as he was smoking a cigarette, no word of what kind of cigarette, outside of a wedding reception in Rosemont. So according to the reports, this is what the witness said. It happened around 10 p.m. on October 19th. We were staying at the Edward Hotel in Rosemont, Illinois for a wedding we were attending that was being held at the hotel. Good writing there. During the reception and dance, I stepped outside to smoke a cig and get away from all the noise for a few minutes. I took a walk around the parking lot, smoking and checking my phone when I heard a loud scream. It sounded like a woman screaming, so I looked up in the direction of where the scream was coming from, hoping it really wasn't a woman in danger. Next to the parking lot is a large field with some trees, but mostly a large vacant lot. I used my cell phone flashlight to light the way and saw nothing except darkness. I walked over to the gravel path between the parking lot and the field towards where my car was parked. That's when I heard something like wings flapping and saw something flew right over top of me, about maybe 6 to 10 feet above me. I could have easily thrown a rock and hit it as it flew over me and away. The thing is at least 6 feet tall, was solid black with large wings. It looked like a giant-sized bat flew over top of me. It was all black and kind of stuck out against the lights of the parking lot and the lights from around the area that included the gas station across the street. 3 other people saw it as well, including a couple who were walking across the parking lot as I heard them exclaiming about it. it flew toward the expressway and the BP gas station. This whole time, it was screeching loud and flapping its wings hard like it was trying to gain height. When I lost sight of it, it was about the height of a billboard across the street, still shrieking away. Very intriguing. Very, very intriguing. Sad story here in New York. A New York State dog was hit by a car and survived a 45-minute drive trapped inside the vehicle's bumper and front grille. Now, there's video of this. It's horrific. That poor doggy. Rotterdam police say Coco the dog was struck by a car in Albany, and the driver got out to investigate what she hit, but only saw minor damage to the front of her car and no struck object in sight. Police say it wasn't until the driver traveled 45 minutes to Rotterdam that she discovered the small dog trapped inside her bumper. One of our officers was able to free the dog from the car by pressing down on the scoop, allowing the dog to come out, Rotterdam Police Chief Lieutenant Jeffrey Collins said. Kathleen Davis, Coco's owner, said the dog escaped through a fence after being let outside to relieve herself. Davis says Coco suffered broken bones, and she is now attempting to raise $4,000 to pay for the canine surgery. Veterinarian says she is recovering well. Yeah, terrible. Terrible. That poor dog suffering like that for 45 miles. Poor thing. Hopefully it does make a full recovery. Fort Bragg, North Carolina is one of the best-known military bases in the world, both for having the largest population of over 50,000 active duty personnel and for being with the headquarters of the United States Army Special Operations Command. That's obviously what the Pentagon would prefer to be renowned for, not a little-known exorcism allegedly performed on a Special Forces soldier at the military's request by the late Father Malachi Martin, a radical former Jesuit and writer, whose book, Hostage to the Devil, recounted 5 other exorcisms he performed. A plan based on a true story, supernatural thriller about the incident at Fort Bragg will make it a total of 6 if it gets made. Will the Pentagon allow it? The Black Coat's daughter, director Osgood Perkins, has signed on to write and direct the supernatural thriller Incident at Fort Bragg for Lionsgate. The project is inspired by the true story of Irish priest Malachi Martin, who was brought in by the U.S. government to perform a sanctioned exorcism on a young soldier at Fort Bragg, the largest military installation in the world. Yeah, so this is pretty good. This is pretty good. They're expecting that this movie could make some serious coin, as The Exorcism of Emily Rose made $144 million worldwide, and The Rite, starring Anthony Hopkins, earned $96 million around the world. That's a lot of supernatural and exorcist firepower behind the film. Yeah. So we're going to see where this goes. Should be a good story. I'm going to try and get them on. Captain Shirk, remind me of that, please, since I know you're listening. Students at the University of North Carolina were baffled when dozens of people in Spider-Man costumes flooded into the library for a brief stunt. A video recorded by student Brian Keyes shows the Spider-Men jumping on tables and pretending to shoot webs, with some of the superheroes pretending to type on computers and approaching studying students. The Spider-Man stunt lasted only a few minutes before they scattered. The reason behind the Spider-Man gathering was unclear, but it occurred only 2 days before Halloween. University police say the incident was not reported by students, and it does not appear that the stunt put anyone in danger. Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness. Apparently, we're going to have to see if Twitter will stand pat on this. But Twitter is apparently planning on banning all political advertisements starting November 22nd. Company announced as rival platform Facebook continued to defend its controversial ad policies. Both candidate and issue-based ads will be prohibited on Twitter globally, with a few exceptions, including for ads in support of voter registration, according to CEO Jack Dorsey. We've made the decision to stop all political advertising on Twitter globally, Dorsey tweeted. We believe political message reach should be earned and not bought. But Facebook, which has come under fire this month for allowing politicians to lie in ads and refusing to take down misleading missives, doubled down on the decision. Although I've considered whether we should not carry political ads in the past, and I'll continue to do so on balance, so far I've thought we should continue. CEO Mark Zuckerberg reportedly told investors on a quarterly earnings call, ads can be an important part of a voice, especially for candidates and advocacy groups the media might not otherwise cover so they can get their message into debates. But Dorsey at Twitter argues online political advertising brings significant risks to politics, where it can be used to influence votes and to affect the lives of millions of people. The changes are not about free expression, but about advertisers paying to force their political message on users, Dorsey continued. He says, paying to increase the reach of political speech has significant ramifications that today's democratic infrastructure may not be prepared to handle. It's worth stepping back in order to address. Good on Twitter for that. Seriously, that is a good move for Twitter. A small amount of depleted uranium caused a scare and led to a hazardous material response at a synagogue in New Jersey. What the hell is uranium doing at a synagogue? The marble-sized substance was discovered at Temple Sherei Shalom in Springfield. The Union County prosecutor says it was tested and was emitting a low-level pulse of radiation that was below the threshold that would be considered an imminent health hazard. The material, which officials say was inadvertently left in a meeting room by an educator who used it as a teaching aid, was safely disposed of by the State Environmental Protection Department. The U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission says depleted uranium is a byproduct of the process through which naturally occurring uranium is enriched in order to produce fuel. All right. I think we got one more. Do we have one more? No, that's it. That's it. Well, let's get to the thought of the day, shall we? Oh, Marty, where's my clown photo? Where is it, Marty? Not seeing it, Marty. Marty always puts a picture of a clown on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio when this comes on. Thought of the Day happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Day is as follows. Do you believe in giants? If so, where are the skeletons? Where are they? Lou believes all the skeletons are in people's closets. Reverend Keith, the Meadowlands. I do believe there were giants. See the Book of Enoch. Grant, in the Smithsonian's basement, unless they have been sold or stolen. Josh, good question, Dave. Yet people accept evolution theory as a fact without hard evidence as well. LOL. Catherine, they're hidden in a cave in the Grand Canyon. Brian, the Smithsonian has them all. Rumor is they were purposely destroyed. Caden, I do. Some, and I use the term lightly, archaeologists have uncovered them in Europe and the Middle East. Dave, under their skin and muscle, like the rest of us. Sparkles, yes, I do. The suppression of giant skeletons is unfair to humanity. I have wondered if the skeletons either being hidden by the Smithsonian or they have been destroyed by the Smithsonian is true. Then there is the story about the Kandahar giant. If it is true and he was removed, what better way for DNA testing that could possibly provide so much information? Do you think DNA testing has been done? And of course, the results suppressed, or do you think the story is a hoax? Oh, Jonathan Reed, experiencer, actually responded to that, saying, suppression of information is a reality. I know because it has been done to me personally ever since I went public with my close encounter in 1996. The fact that many in the USA who think or believe my case is some kind of hoax is proof that disinformation and negative propaganda works. Alfred believes they're in the Smithsonian. Ryan believes they're in Brewers Cave, Utah. He believes everything is in Brewers Cave, Utah. It's because he lives there. I see what you're doing there, Ryan. No fooling old Davy here. Gabe, covered up by the Smithsonian. Jade believes they're in Sardinia. Heather believes they're covered by mud floods. Grant, most have been confiscated and destroyed. See Smithsonian. A lot of Smithsonian haters here. Daryl, super yes. You know damn well, Dave, where those skeletons are. They're in the closet of the Smithsonian. John, Grant nailed it. The Smithsonian has been actively hiding these for around 100 years. Marty, I do believe in giants. I watch them play basketball on TV. Their skeletons are busy slam dunking. John, plenty of them in Utah. I have a friend who has found several and has a video to prove it. Let's see that video, John. Brent, Smithsonian and in protected mounds and caves, all protected by our government. No-go zones. Steve, they're all locked up in the basement of the Smithsonian Institute. Now, I thought they were just in the closet. You guys got me confused. Penman, they are out in the woods. Oh, do you mean human giants? No, I meant the Vancouver Giants hockey team. WHL. Good hockey. Best hockey going. And the final word goes to the Ukrainian watermelon. Nope. We find dino crap fossilized all the time. Why no giant poo? Just saying. The Ukrainian watermelon. We love him around here. Absolutely love Ronnie. Right on, little Ronnie Moniak. Good one. All right. Want to say thank you for everybody taking part in today's Thought of the Day. We'll do it all again tomorrow on Facebook and on Twitter on All Hallows Eve. Big thanks to Captain Shirk for putting together the news on the SOR Newswire, which can be found on our website, spacedoutradio.com. And to Barbara DeLong, no relation to Tommy, for coming on in to talk Giants tonight. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot THAL rocking in the background with Little Brother Is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, in our chat rooms on the SOR Space Travelers Club on our website. Thank you so much. On Facebook, Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio, Spreaker, Rev Radio, LGAB. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and doing your part to make us bigger and better every night, because together, my friends, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Karen Dahlman, live Ouija board sessions on Halloween night. Come join us. Come dance with the devil if you need to. We'll be here. You be here. We're going to have some fun on Halloween night with Karen Dahlman and live Ouija boards. Good night, everybody. See you tomorrow. Rock it on out, Mr. B. Good night.